What's up, guys? Wes Pruitt, 4-Star Sports Media. Hope everyone's doing well
this
this
Monday
afternoon.
It's almost 11:24. John Sturdivant's in the house with me. John, what's going on, man?
It's a fabulous Monday on this Monday afternoon/morning, and I'm ready to dig into a lot of sports that happened over the weekend.
No doubt, man. We got a jam-packed show for you this Monday.
We're going to start out with
a little appetizer.
Burning question
of the day is: were you expecting the fireworks that we got over the weekend in Omaha?
What's your thoughts on the fireworks we got, John?
Man, there has definitely been some fireworks. As the first three games were definitely entertaining, for to say the least. You saw a team in orange that rallied. You saw a team in blue that in Kentucky, and they just rallied as well, and they just never gave up. And when we knew the North Carolina State Kentucky game could really go either way, and it definitely showed it. Both teams are it's just that right now the SEC is showing how dominant they actually are right now over the ACC, and it's gonna be interesting next couple of days, especially when Tennessee got 2 days off, and see how their bodies needed that rest, especially after that first game, and whatnot. But it's been an exciting first 2 days in Omaha. It looks like it's up to capacity like it should be every year, so that's good to see as well for the city of Omaha.
Yeah, no doubt, man. It's been a lot of fun. We'll start doing our little poll questions, man. Poll question number one today is: will Tennessee break the number one curse and win it all in Omaha? These questions are posted to our Facebook page, also posted to our X page. So go over and check out X as well. Let me get this other camera off here. There we go. All right. It's just much clearer this way. No, man. Poll question number two today is: who will represent the group of five in college football playoff? We got four options for you. We got Memphis, Tulane, Boise State, and Appalachian State. Feel free to comment also in the comment section. We'll bring the comment up on the screen and discuss the comment as well. So we're all about engagement here at Sports Cafe. We appreciate everybody watching and listening right now on YouTube and on YouTube, Facebook, and X as well. John, let's start with a little main prep, man.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with a little main course. Let's start with some Memphis prep. We had an interview yesterday with Kendrick Watkins, brand new head coach of the Cardinal Dragons lady basketball team, girls basketball, whatever you want to call them, Lady Dragons. Big time interview yesterday. A lot of fun. It was really nice to reconnect with him. I hadn't talked to him in a good little bit, man. But Kendrick and I go back a long ways. We're former not roommates, but teammates at Rossville Academy. And that's where he came from. Had a 78-26 record while at Rossville. Last 2 seasons, I think he went 75, 65, and 7 or something. Right. So the last 2 seasons, but insane record, man. So, John, give me your thoughts on big time news in the city of Memphis, man. Kendrick Watkins making a jump from Rossville to a different ville in Carterville.
At first, I was kind of not surprised per se, but I am kind of surprised that they didn't go out of the city limits per se. I'm just saying that because I really thought maybe Carterville definitely needed to start fresh out of the city of Memphis limits and hire somebody maybe in the Mississippi area or somewhere else surrounding that area as well. But I think overall, it was a good hire, just because, like you brought up, his winning record at Rossville. He's been a state champion, and I hate that I know they're in a different league now in Rossville, but I hate to see them leave the TSAA when they did and go back to that league that they were, in when you were in school and whatnot. But overall, good hire. I know it took him a little bit longer than a lot of people anticipated because, what's going on at Carterville and whatnot. But I think it was a good hire just because due to the circumstances that they're going through right now, and basically a lot of team camps, are still like wrapping up right now as well, and maybe coach can still get them like in a summer camp, like and just get some games in before the school year starts to see what he actually has going into tryouts, and whatnot as well. So that'd be what I think Coach Watkins can do right now for the Collierville basketball team because think about it, it's halfway through the summer. Um, Due to the circumstances that they were in, I think it was a good hire. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, talking to him yesterday, been talking to him all week, honestly. But he's ready to get to work, man. He's excited to get to work. He understands what it takes to win. Talking to him yesterday, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you've listened to the interview, but if you haven't, head to 4star.live. It's there now. We talk about a lot of different topics. Talk Rossville, talk a little Riverside, which was before Rossville. Talk family, talk Father's Day, with yesterday being Father's Day as well. Kendrick's a good guy, man. Kendrick's a good guy. He's a proven winner. He's a hard worker. Like he said yesterday, he said, you may be able to out X and O me, but you're not the outwork. And it's really, man, to be honest with you, that goes back to the Joe Riccone days at Rossville. We talked a little bit about Joe yesterday too. But that goes back to that, just instilling that mind over matter mindset in us at a very young age. But yeah, no, Kendrick's a special guy. I think he's a special talent, and I think he'll do special things at Collierville.
I do want to say this also real quick. If anybody from Collierville is actually listening to this, just give Coach Watkins some time. That's all I ask. Yeah. Give him like 2-3 years to get his players in, or not players in, but get his system, and whatnot in place. Because I hate to say this on air or whatnot, but the reason I'm telling you to give him time is because one, you got 2 middle schools right now in Collierville, and you don't know what's going to happen to the future of Collierville. I'm not saying the Collierville High School is going to be shutting down or whatnot, but you don't know what kids are going to go to Houston. You don't know what kids are going to go to Collierville as well. Yeah. So you definitely need to give Coach Watkins 2-3 years in general and see what happens, because you're in the ACC conference for basketball, for girls basketball in this region, especially when you got other teams like the Barlett, the Arlington, and other teams in the surrounding areas as well. So that's one reason I think Collierville's got to give them some time, and the Collierville fan base as well. So, yeah.
100%. All right, man. Let's get on our next 2 guests. They're from Briarcrest. One second, let me get them in here. We got Jack Gleason and we've got Aiden McCready joining the show. Let me get the right banners up here. That way you guys are properly talked about. So, John, I'll let you go ahead and describe. Or let you go ahead.
Our first guest, my first guest will be a Mississippi State future Bulldog, Jack Gleason, right there in the bottom of the. And then you got Aiden McCready, a Delta State commitment / signee as well. And also, guys, y'all are also state champion.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to Sports Buffet on the 4-Star Sports. So, Jack, first question for you, man. Like, how does it feel to be a state champion?
It feels pretty surreal. Like, I still don't believe that it happened just because of the whole thing with, like, it ended at 1 a.m. So, yeah. I mean, Briarcrest just posted, like, that video, like, recapping the whole thing, and it gives me chills every time.
What about you, Aiden?
It's very, like Jack said, it's very surreal. We were sitting in a hotel room together at like 3, couldn't fall asleep, and we were all just sitting back realizing that, man, it actually happened. And it being the first time in school history, it's really special to all of us and something we'll remember for the rest of our lives. So
that was a long day for y'all too.
Yeah.
All right, Wes, go ahead.
That's for both of you guys, man. So you look at the city of Memphis and being able to bring that championship back for the city. I mean, I understand Briarcrest, but for the city of Memphis, what did it mean to be part of something special and something that the 901's not going to forget for quite a long time?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be always something you can come back and say you were a part of, which I think is cool. Just thinking about when I'm 40 years old, I can come back and say that I did that.
Yeah, I think it's cool because the past, years that I can remember, they've all been from, Nashville or Knoxville or Chattanooga. So it's really been the first time in a while that Memphis has brought that home. So,
I mean, especially to have 2 Memphis teams in the championship game is, I think, pretty crazy.
So, Jack, I know you're heading to Starkville, Mississippi,
Yes, sir.
Vegas, as they like to call it down there.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk a little bit about that baseball program. Of course, this year, very talented team, made a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Man, you better get used to cowbells. That's all I can tell you.
Yes, sir. For sure.
But Duty Noble is a hopping baseball park, man. So give me your first thoughts on the campus, the university, and then, of course, the park.
My dad played football there, so I've grown up a Mississippi State fan, so I'm kind of used to the Cowbells. But I've never been on the field, I guess, when they're going off, so that's going to be pretty crazy. But I love it because it's like a big SEC school, but it's not crazy big. Like the campus isn't too big I can walk from one side to the other in probably 15 minutes. So I like that aspect. And then, of course, Duty Noble, best atmosphere in college baseball, in my opinion. I think a lot of other people's opinions also. But, yeah, fans are great. Everyone's great there.
All right, Aiden, you're up next, man. So you're headed to Delta State, the Statesmen, the Fighting Okra, whatever you want to call them down there. Cleveland, Mississippi is a hotbed of baseball talent. When you look at that program, very similar to Mississippi State. It's a program that is cream of the crop when it comes to baseball at the Division II level. So what is it about the Okra that has you excited about going down to Cleveland?
So taking my first couple of visits, they really made me feel like they wanted me a lot. And that was really special to me. And growing up, I was always a smaller kid, and I never really was the biggest kid on the team. So my goal ahead of my mind was just to make it somewhere and hopefully produce myself. And I think Delta State would give me the best shot to produce myself, to get my career started and hopefully, make it to the next level after that. So, and the campus it's not too big and it's not too small. It's just kind of right there in the middle. And it always felt like home when I went down there. So,
yeah, there's some baseball fanatics down there, man. They take their baseball real serious down there. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Jack. Jack, talk about Aiden. Same question because I know y'all play multi positions, per se. And whenever Aiden's pitching, Jack, you're always in the infield taking the spot at shortstop,
Yes,
or and whatnot. But Jack, talk about how you can basically play multi positions for a team at the next level, like at Mississippi State. Like you can pitch and then play in the infield if they need you. What's the routine for that?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm going as a PO. I guess I suppose if they ever needed a shortstop, I'd love to play it. But it's definitely a different dynamic because you got to keep your arm healthy. And a lot of times, like for Briarcrest, me and Aiden would always complain because we'd have to throw a game and then have to play short, and our arms would be really sore. But, yeah.
Aiden, how about you? Same question.
yeah, I'm going to experiment both and see which I'm best at. So whatever the coaches feel is best for me and best for the team is what I'm okay with. But, I mean, if it's both, then I guess I'll have to keep that workload, but at the same time kind of notch it down and take care of my arm. So it really doesn't matter to me. I feel like I'm good at both. So
Question for both of you guys, man. So when you look at a guy like Paul Skeens, for example, right? High velocity, a lot of movement, a lot of nasty stuff, but when you look at a guy like that and you look at how he utilizes pregame workouts that are very unique, very different, are you watching how guys like that are making sure that they have longevity in the game at the high school level?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely watch. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about with Paul Skeens. I see it on Instagram all the time with like, I think he uses the football to warm up and stuff. And I definitely take after those guys. I think I try to just gradually put some of those routines into my routine, but I also at the same time have to have my routine, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen there's been a couple of guys that have gone to Briarcrest that have come back and have talked to me about a routine because that was what I needed. I needed a routine. So Hugh Fisher, he graduated, went to Vanderbilt, and got drafted. He talked to me about a routine, just finding something that's comfortable for yourself. And ultimately in the season, I found my routine and I kept doing it and I kept seeing the same results. So I've kind of stuck to it, but definitely the routine is a big part in the role of how your start goes.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, Aiden, Jack. Y'all had, over the last 4 years, y'all have had some challenging scheduling per se, because y'all played the Barletts, y'all played the Arlingtons, y'all played the great teams like Christian Brothers, although they were in y'all's district, whatnot. Just talk about like the scheduling that Coach Hopkins put y'all together to get y'all ready for that next level, not only for Delta State, but also for Mississippi State scheduling down the road as well. That can help y'all out for that next level.
He told us from the beginning of the season that the schedule is going to be hard, and he does that on purpose so that once we play those hard teams, I mean, obviously it's not going to be easy once we get to the next level, but it definitely prepares us more.
Yeah, ever since me and Jack have been on varsity since our sophomore year, and it's been very challenging, and it sometimes it can be very discouraging seeing some of the losses. But this year we played a team, Hoover High School, that's a big time program, and we played a very tough schedule at the beginning of the year. Didn't get the results we wanted, but they're all close games, and it was cool to see how those games transferred to later in the season, and we beat them on a walk-off in 8 innings. So it's very encouraging towards the end of the season, but it's definitely the best for the team because once we got to the state tournament, we played another, ranked national team in Baylor. So we weren't like intimidated. We were very confident. And so we really just had the same mindset just to play our ball and the rest would work out.
When you talk about playing your ball, baseball, any sport, but I feel like with baseball in particular, you build really strong bonds with your teammates, right? So when you look at you two guys, I mean, I can just tell by looking at you, you've got a strong bond between the two of you. Yet you're going to different destinations. For you both Mississippi, but Clarksville and Parkville are completely opposites. How do you guys utilize the bond that you have with each other and then also use that to become better teammates of where you're going? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's truly what separated our team this year as opposed to any other year was that we all loved each other and we all played for each other, I think. And then, of course, me and Aiden had that special bond. I mean, this year, for some reason, Coach Hop changed up the hotel rooms, but before this year, me and him were always in the same hotel room, so that helped too. We actually slept in the same bed. So,
yeah, I would say if we have a rough game, you can always text each other, ask how or what went wrong and to see if there's any video or see if we can, because, we've been pitching together since we were freshmen or in sophomore. So, I mean, anything and we know what we do and we know what our problems and struggles are at times. So, I mean, there's always a good friend to go back to when you need someone to rely on. So I think that's a great thing to have, even though we're not on the same team, but I think it's a great thing to have in your back pocket for in college.
And I know, like, me and Aiden have talked about being teammates again, hopefully someday. I think that'd be cool.
For sure.
I don't know about all that. I've heard he's a Tennessee fan.
I'm trying to get him to start, bro.
I'm just kidding.
That was a mighty quick laugh,
Yeah,
though. He laughed really fast when you said this. So it does not sound like he's going to be in Stark Vegas unless he's a ball.
Nah, I mean, whatever the opportunity presents to me. So, I mean, but definitely gotta do something good at Delta State before anything else happens.
So as two guys who are just completing the initial process of going to a college, and the recruitment process, the offers of today are much different than the offers of years prior because of the portal and everything else. What is something that you can tell some up and coming, some freshmen, some sophomores, some kids in maybe even middle school that are aspiring to be college baseball players? What are some tips that you can give them as far as the recruitment process?
For me, I think it's really just keep your head down and keep working. Like I didn't get any interest until this past summer, actually. And so it all can just, like, once you get that first school, it all sort of hits at the same time usually. But like, I was a late bloomer, so I didn't get much interest. So I think my advice is just to not get discouraged.
Yeah, I'm like Jack. I was a late bloomer, so I didn't really start getting any notice until I started going to camps myself. So to anyone wondering if you're going to ever get seen by a college coach, as long as you keep working, they'll find you, because that was my worry as a kid was, oh, I might never make it, or what if I don't? But it all kind of hits at the same time. Like Jack said, once the first one comes, everybody else comes. So if you keep working and presenting yourself out there, the college coaches will for sure find you.
Man, that's a great answer, guys. And that's a mature answer, honestly. For two guys going to college right now, that's a very mature answer, and it's an answer that I can tell that both you guys really trust. I mean, you got to keep working, no matter what you do in life. You got to keep working at it. You got to keep sharpening that axe. So, no, man, shout out to you guys and definitely Briarcrest. But I mean, man, you guys have been incredible today. We really appreciate you guys coming on. John, you got anything?
Yeah, my last question, guys, real quick. I know y'all are busy. I know Aiden, you got workouts too with Memphis Tigers baseball team and whatnot. And Jack, you just finished with the workout, and I'm sure you got some other things to do as well today. But what does the word Briarcrest mean to y'all in general? I know growing up, y'all probably did go to Briarcrest Middle School and whatnot as well. So throughout the years, what does the word Briarcrest mean to y'all?
So I actually transferred to Briarcrest my sophomore year from Houston High School, but just the love that you get from your teachers and coaches at Briarcrest, I think, is unlike any other. And so when I think of Briarcrest, it makes me smile. I never think anything bad about it, of course. Like I just worked out there a few minutes ago, and driving back there just makes me sad that I have to leave that place.
Yeah, I think of the word family, to be honest, because, some schools don't have coaches that truly love you and want the best for you. And same thing goes for the teachers. And we had a new strength and conditioning coach. Shout out Coach Avery, if he's watching or if he will. He really instilled his heart into us and put everything he had for us. The first day of school, we were conditioning, and we thought this guy was crazy, and we didn't. We were all wanting to drop his class, but we all stuck through it. And
our last day of school.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that is a big factor that went in for us to win the state championship this year. Because years past, we haven't had anything like his class. He put time into his day to create meal plans for us, so that was a big part. And then Coach Hop, words can't describe the help he's had for us. So, and just everything the coaches and teachers have done for us, it just creates a big bond, and it's honestly like a family. So.
Well, I know it's been a wonderful 4 years of watching y'all play baseball, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing y'all not eventually play college baseball, but eventually grow as a man, down the road as well, and keep up the good work. on and off the baseball field, and academics do come first. So guys, focus on that
Sure.
first, and sports can always come later. And just follow your dreams, and we'll stay in touch down the road. Keep up the good work, and we're proud of y'all here at the show.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, not a problem at all, man. Jack Gleason, Aiden McCready just came on there and knocked that out of the park. If you boys hadn't hit home runs, you just hit one there. Incredible job, man. And like just echo what John said, we'll be following Mississippi State, we'll be following Delta State as well to keep up with you guys, and we'll keep the local Memphis area abreast as to what you guys got going on too. But thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate you carving out roughly 20 minutes of your time today. Enjoy the rest of your day, fellas.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And those guys are incredible, John. Those guys are good, man. Those guys are good. John, let's keep the baseball talk going, man. We saw some wild things happen. I tell you what, John. Yeah, let's start with college. We'll start with college baseball. I didn't really want to do what we were. All right, so let's talk College World Series, man. We saw North Carolina win a walk-off. We saw Florida State lose a walk-off. We saw Kentucky win a walk-off. It's the first time ever that 4 games in the first day have been decided by 1 run. And then we saw history be made again when Christian Moore would become the second player ever to hit for the cycle in a College World Series game. We asked the question at the beginning of the show. The burning question is, were you expecting these kind of fireworks? I was not. That Florida State-Tennessee game, that's one of the craziest games I've watched in a long time. And I'll be honest with you, I feel like Tennessee may have gotten away with one there. But to win a national championship, like we talked about, it takes a little help, man. It takes a little bit of help. It takes a little bit of extra. But, man, let's talk about it. So, right now, you've got today, matter of fact, you've got NC State and Florida. Loser of that game out of there, back at the house. And then you've got Kentucky and Texas A&M. Winner of that game is sitting pretty up there with Tennessee, who is just sitting around chilling, waiting on people to play them on Wednesday. So let's go over today, John. NC State, Florida starts at 1 p.m. today, and then Kentucky, Texas A&M tonight, 6 p.m. Who you got, man?
Oh, man. The Florida North Carolina State game could go well either way, to be honest with you, just because both teams are hitting the ball pretty well. Both teams are pitching pretty well. But I love the underdog story right now in North Carolina State. I'm not saying they're the underdog story. I'm saying that because the way they competed in that regional, then they went over to Athens and dominated game 1. Game 2 went Georgia's way, of course, but game 3 was a winner-take-all game, and North Carolina State shut them down toward the later innings when it mattered most against Georgia. And I really think North Carolina State will win this game over Florida just because I think they are taking their time more at the plate, per se, at times, as well in the postseason, because they're waiting for that pitch rather than Florida wants to hit everything out of ballpark at times as well. And also, I think North Carolina State's got more depth down the road in the bullpen area against a Florida team that's kind of got some question marks at pitching lately, off and on.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Florida and Tennessee to play for the championship. I got to go with Florida in order to keep my championship alive, so I'm going to take Florida in this game. And then Kentucky A&M tonight, man, that's going to be a battle.
That game could go 14 innings.
I was about to say, that game could go all night. And then tomorrow, 1 p.m., you got Florida State, North Carolina. Loser of that game goes home. Give me Florida State to get that win tomorrow, man, over North Carolina. I like this Florida State team. I think they've got real punch to them. Obviously, they've got the bats. They scored 11 runs against Tennessee and was up 9-4 in that game at one point in time. So we obviously know they've got the bats, they've got the pitching. Give me Florida State to get that win over North Carolina tomorrow. But that game tonight, Kentucky A&M. I didn't think A&M was going to be as good as they were. You know, they lost their star player, broke his leg, the Super Regional. But man, to come out the way they did, get a big win over a Florida team, it's really good. I mean, obviously, any of these 8 teams that are here count. Give me A&M tonight, man. That's tough, dude. Give me A&M to get the win tonight. And I mean, dude, this thing's just now getting started. Like people are like, oh, the World Series, it's just now starting. Like we've just begun. So, but a lot going on. You got games the 18th. Like I said, Florida State and North Carolina will play first, and then Wednesday, you've got Tennessee playing at to be determined on ESPN. All these games will be on ESPN. But man, it's going to be exciting. The finals starts June 22nd. At 7:30 p.m. With Game 2 being on ABC for the first time ever. A College World Series game will be played on ABC. That'll be the Game 2 on June 23rd. And then on the 24th, if necessary, we'll be back on ESPN.
You know, I'm going to go with Kentucky in this game just because it's a toss-up. So it's really a toss-up that could go either way. But I'm going to go with Kentucky over A&M, although A&M is probably going to have more fans in the stands in this one. But I think A&M loses this game to Kentucky, although I think A&M beats Kentucky in that elimination game where they can send Kentucky home because I think they're going to basically save some arms. Now, you know, they're basically best pitchers for that winner stays alive game against Kentucky and loser goes home. But I think Kentucky, it's a toss-up really, but right now on top of my head, I'll go with Kentucky just because it's a toss-up.
Okay.
But
tomorrow's
game, I'll go with North Carolina over Florida State too.
You taking North Carolina over them? Okay.
Yeah, I take North Carolina.
Next, let's jump over to some MLB talk. So a former Memphis Tiger is absolutely on fire right now. His name's Hunter Goodman, who plays for the Colorado Rockies. I'm sure you've probably heard us talk about him time or two on the show. John, you want to talk a little bit about what Hunter did over the weekend?
Man, second time in Rockies history, actually caught the ball or played catcher, for the Rockies. Man, like 5 hits or 5 RBIs, 2 home runs, and they're Rocky Mountain jerseys, they call it, I believe, the green-white jerseys. But, Hunter Goodman, 2 home runs in 1 game against a team in the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I guess the only downside it wasn't against good old Paul Sheens for the Pirates, as Hunter would probably like that. But, heck, the Rockies went on to score 16 runs in that game.
Yeah.
Total domination for the Rockies. And Hunter Goodman has been up and down all year long, but just good to see him get out of that slump that he was in. And he's, like I said, he's playing every 3 to 4 games, it seems, also for the Rockies. So that hurts his batting average just a little bit, but because he's not used to like playing every 3 to 4 games, he's a guy that usually playing every day. But just the way that the Rockies, use him at times, I think right now, like yesterday, I think he was the DH. They gave him a break behind the plate or whatever. But, 5 RBI game, 2 home runs. And they were deep home runs, too, I might add. So,
he put one dead center that was, the exit velocity off the bat was like 100-something miles an hour. It was a smack.
But, it's good to see Hunter back on that groove, batting over 200 now for the Rockies. So,
he's batting to over 200 right now for the Rockies. Against left-handed pitchers, he's extremely effective. Right-handed pitchers is a little bit different. I get it. It's just a matchup. I understand it. But, I know that doing a little bit of research on him, they've been working with him on, he's got that big leg kick that he does when he swings. And they've been working with him a lot on the timing of that. being in motion, maybe shortening up a little bit, and I think it's really it's really helping him. I mean, he's talked a lot about getting in the cages with the coaches, working on shortening his swing, being a little more compact. And I think it's really working well for him. And then you look at him on the fielding side, and he's played first base a few times, played outfield a few times as well. But catchers where Hunter is Hunter. That's his bread and butter right there, is playing catcher. He's been a catcher his whole life. I think that's where I think the Rockies really see him as a future. Is in that position or the DH position, honestly. You can throw him in the DH position, as we've seen this year, and he can be effective. A lot of fun to watch him just continue to grow. And I mean, I couldn't be happier for his family. They're an incredible group of people. John, let's jump over to a little minor league baseball talk, as we've got a team over here in Arkansas that is absolutely on fire right now, hotter than fish grease, and that's the Northwest Arkansas Naturals. They just swept the Springfield Cardinals. I'll say that again. They just swept, 6-game sweep, got the brooms out on the Springfield Cardinals. That's the first ever 6-game sweep in team history.
Impressive.
It's extremely impressive. They've won 7 straight games. First ever 6-game sweep in team history. The second most hits in the last game. They had 20 hits when they won 14-6. They scored over 10 runs, I believe, 4 or 5 games in that series. I mean, the new influx of players is what's been really interesting to see. As you know, there's movement, right? We call it the Naturals ladder. These guys are climbing and going up and down. But you look at Rodolfo Duran, just got called up to the Quad City Storm Chasers. I'm sorry, Omaha Storm Chasers. Numerous other guys. Josh Lester's been called up. Dylan Strum's been called up. Javier Baz, I think, is probably going to be one of the next ones to be called. Baz is really hitting the ball really well. You've got guys that have been brought down. The new catcher's working out really well. They brought him in. But, I mean, let's not forget, the local talent is not even on the field. And he hasn't been on the field for almost a month now, and that's Caden Wallace, star third baseman, played at Arkansas. He's got a messed up hamstring. He's been out for about a month. We reported it the minute it happened. He got a hit, running down first base, came up a little and they pulled it. Since that day, we haven't seen him. He's not in Northwest Arkansas. He is in Arizona rehabbing the injury, which is what happens with all Royals players. If you're hurt, you go to Arizona. That's what happens. Mm-hmm. We've talked to Tommy Shields. Shields does not have an update on it. We're about as connected with the Nationals as you can be. Yeah, I mean, this team's playing really well. Tulsa Drillers, they're only 3 games behind Tulsa, or 2.5 games now behind Tulsa. And guess who comes to town tomorrow? Them boys, the Tulsa Drillers. They come to town tomorrow through Sunday. It's going to be an incredible series. Dalton Rushing, Memphis fans may remember that name. He's got a brother named Logan Rushing who plays for the Tigers. Dalton is the number 2 or 3. He's a top prospect for the Dodgers, and he is on fire right now for the Tulsa Drillers. So, man, you look at this minor league baseball system. So much talent, John. So much talent, man. You got. I mean, we've talked about it. You went and saw Bolin as well. So. There's talent everywhere, man. It's really fun to watch these guys just have fun playing the game, man. I mean, the parks are really pretty. That Springfield Park is beautiful. It's massive. It's a huge stadium there in Springfield, Missouri. But man, what a big win! Big win over the weekend for the Northwest Arkansas Naturals. And if they can keep it going, right now they're the hottest team in the Texas League. They've won 7 games. No other team in that league is even close to that right now.
Yeah, bringing up Arkansas Naturals, you made a great point. The sweep was 6 games in a row, and that's really unheard of in the minor league baseball because, ever since COVID, now they got that week long span where they played the same team 6 times now. But yeah, the minor league system right now, in general, I think from top to bottom, not only for the Arkansas Naturals, but other teams from. I know some teams are like struggling right now with the record per se, but it's good to see a lot of players that you'll never probably see in a while go into minor league ballpark and play against like an Arkansas Natural, like you brought up. I can see Rushing really go up to AAA anytime soon, and play for the Dodgers, especially right now when you're not really certain on the future of Mookie Betts right now, per se, because Mookie had a fractured hand yesterday. I know it's not going to require surgery and whatnot, but you got Rushing that can play multiple positions,
Yeah.
At the next level in the major leagues per se. I'm not saying he's going to jump up from AA to major leagues real quick, but we have seen it happen, over the last couple of months in the minor leagues per se. But yeah, minor leagues right now, I think, are pretty fun to watch right now. You get the Redbirds are playing this week at home, so anybody wants to go out and watch the Redbirds. They're playing at home this week. In general, West, I'm like the Omaha Storm Chasers and the Naturals right now are back to where they used to be. They're basically, and the Kansas City Royals, I might add as well, they're back to where they used to be as well, where they won that World Series that 1 year. It's back to where the Omaha and the Naturals and the Kansas City are basically, to me, a team to better look out for that second half of the season where they could basically make some noise going down the road as well. Because think about it, the minor leagues now, I think they take the top 2 in each league per se and make it into a playoff.
Yep.
Like the old days where they used to do it differently. But it's going to be definitely second half of the season. It's coming up less than a month away because All-Star break is definitely approaching as well. So, yeah, minor leagues, go out and watch the minor league baseball game. I know people are saying the attendance have been up and down all across the board in minor league. The heck, it's summertime. Take your kids out to the ballpark and go enjoy a hot dog and fries and some fireworks as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, dude, Arvis Ballpark up here in Northwest Arkansas is an incredible AA stadium. I mean, obviously, Redbird Stadium in Memphis is incredible. You've been to Nashville and seen the Nashville Stadium there. It's very nice. Well, I talked about Springfield. Omaha's a nice stadium, too. But, yeah, you talk about this minor league system, man. Yeah, you've got this series coming up, and then you've got a break, and then you've got a little 3-game series right around the 4th of July, and then there's a gap to where they don't play. And they come back and do a little 3-game series to get the season going back again, and then they come back behind that 1 game off or 1 day off, and then a 6-gamer right behind. So, I mean, you're right at the first half mark. Like I said, if you're the Naturals right now and you want to make a run, you can literally make a run right now in this series. If you win 3, 4, 5 games of this series, or maybe even another sweep, possibly, you're sitting in first place. You went from 2 games out of last place against Wichita in the bottom of the barrel of the North Division of Texas, to the Texas League. Now you're 3 games back of third, and you're 3.5 games back of first, and you're only a game back of third. So, I mean, you look at this Naturals team, and they're climbing quick, man. They're hitting on all cylinders, and it's fun to see. John, let's talk about a game that some people enjoyed. Some people probably didn't enjoy it. I personally enjoy the league, but the game itself kind of got out of hand pretty quick, and that's the UFL Championship from the Dome in St. Louis. That's what they call it. They call it the Dome. I'm sorry, it's the Dome at American Center. I apologize. Make sure I get that title right. Make sure I don't want to make any Battlehawk fans mad. But the Birmingham Stallions would shut out the San Antonio Brahmas 25-0. 25-0. That's crazy. It was basically scoreless for the entire first half. Anybody that watched this game, the first half, you were like, when's somebody going to score? I mean, that's kind of the way it felt. But yeah, I mean, in the end, Stallions took off, got their offense going, and led them to a third straight league championship for Skip Holtz and the Birmingham Stallions. So, John, what's your thoughts on? Let me just get your thoughts on the league and the way they did the championship first.
They did have a, like you brought up, they had it in St. Louis, and I really think in the long haul, you're going to have it in a dome just because of weather per se, because, some of these fields are using multi-sports on their field. Like Washington, for example, they have an MLS soccer team there. I know the Rangers don't play there in Arlington no more, but they still use multi-sports on their football field / baseball field as well. And I think in the long haul, you're going to have the dome in that championship game because weather per se and just the condition of the field and whatnot as well. And plus, just the way that the St. Louis city represents their sports in general. From the Battlehawks games this year, they're averaging 30,000 a game, it seemed. And I think in the long haul, you're going to have it. And whether it's in St. Louis or down the road in Atlanta, maybe you can play the Mercedes-Benz, which I think that would be pretty cool if you can let the kids experience a game in the Mercedes-Benz where the Falcons play, because some guys are still looking for an NFL dream down the road. That's why I think in the dome would be pretty cool. And, hey, even throw the Superdome out there. Have a game in the Superdome would be nice.
Yeah.
So I would like to have it rotate between maybe like St. Louis, New Orleans, and then maybe Atlanta per se. But overall, the UFL I think was a good league this year. I think, like I said, you brought up, and I brought up numerous times, the coaches in this league are by far fun to watch as well. Coach Holtz, hey, back to back, man. Like, hey, you deserve a coaching gig at this.
He's 32-4.
Yeah.
Stallions are 32-4 under him. That is insane. And then the craziest part is this, John. They scored 25 or 28 straight points. They scored the final 28 points in the USFL Conference Championship. Then they scored 25 points and shut out San Antonio. So they scored 53 straight points to win the league. That's crazy. And then they were the only team to have the only defense in the league to have a shutout in the regular season and postseason.
Unbelievable.
And they just happened to wait till the championship to do the shutout.
Yeah, like I thought, San Antonio did everything in their power to do at least a little bit of a running game in that championship game yesterday. But just the way that Birmingham closed it down and just shut it down completely. And heck, I'd never thought the game would be 25-0 and 8-0, with 40 seconds to go in the half. But the reason I bring it up with Skip Holtz is because to me, he deserves a coaching he got the wrong deal in college. Let's just say that. As much as I do, he was a winner everywhere he's been so far. Heck, he got the wrong deal at East Carolina 2005, 2009, where East Carolina was at least competitive under Coach Holtz. South Florida did not give him no more than 2 years. Why? I have no idea, because I think he would have turned that team around in South Florida. And then look, Louisiana Tech from 2013 to 2021, he's fighting for the Conference USA championships at Louisiana Tech.
Yeah.
Louisiana Tech was no sleepover back in the day when he was coach over there. Heck, he's a winner everywhere he's been. Give this guy a deserved shot in the college ranks again. I'd love to see him back in college ranks, and that maybe being an assistant coordinator or something like that in the NFL ranks would be a good fit for him too. But Coach Holtz does not get a lot of credit as he deserves. He deserves a lot of credit. He's a winner. He shows his passion on the sidelines, and he cares about the student athletes in the college level and also in this UFL league that he cares about the players in general.
Yeah, and they talked to him about that. We were on the press call at the end of the game. Somebody asked him specifically, like, "Hey, what are you gonna do if you get a phone call?" He straight up said, "It's the best job I've ever had. I love Birmingham. It's the best job I've ever had." He's only lost 4 games. He's been there
Right.
3 years. I wouldn't leave. That's like Dan Hurley going to the Lakers. No, why do you do that? I mean, I wouldn't leave. Yeah, I wouldn't leave. I would stay. But no, man, for the inaugural season of the UFL, it's a lot of fun. We're going to have more on it. There's going to be more articles coming out soon on it. We're not done. We're going to continue to talk about it. That's what we do on the Sports Buffet. We bring you information that we gather through our media network, through our media distribution list. We are on at 4-Star Sports, and we give it to you. That's the whole point of the Sports Buffet. We also break news, like we did Friday with Kendrick Watkins. John and I worked really hard to uncover shocking news that Kendrick was going over to Carterville. But I mean, when you look back at 4-Star, we may not be the fastest to get it out, but we're going to be right. And another way that we are always right, John, is that we get into Memphis football, man. We talk about them. We dig into it. This is going to be our 4th season to be a credentialed media member for the Memphis football program. It's going to be a lot of fun. Shout out Scott Burns, SID over at Memphis and all the program there. But John, let's talk a little bit of Memphis Tigers, man. Let's start with this football schedule. So I've got just a few notes here, just a few, about 3 pages of notes. So Tigers start off August 31st with North Alabama. Memphis has won 11 straight versus FCS opponents. And against the spread, Memphis is 8-3 in those games. The last time Memphis took on North Alabama was 2022, and Memphis would win that game 59-0. Last year, North Alabama went 3-8, and they also lost to a common opponent of the Tigers this year in Florida State, 58-13. So, John, I think Memphis starts out 1-0 against North Alabama.
First of all, a lot of people are saying, why are we scheduling this North Alabama game? You got to remember, a lot of people are like, why are we scheduling them when we got other options out there, and whatnot, per se. But I'm looking at it like this. A lot of people don't realize this, but North Texas is in the league now. At first, this North Texas game was going to be a non-conference game. But now that North Texas game is a conference game. So we had to have somebody fill that game, and that's one reason that we had to schedule North Alabama for this early game. So anybody wants a reminder on that, that's why we got North Alabama on that schedule. And I look at it like this also, that North Alabama team, it's not going to be the same North Alabama team that came in here a couple of years ago and got killed, per se, because I think this North Alabama team, they got a great coaching staff. Looking at their board, looking at their coaches, heck, man, they've been recruiting like crazy, like nobody other in that 1AA in North Alabama. Not only recruiting the Memphis area, but they're also recruiting all around the Southeast. And that's one reason I think this North Alabama team, the score might not show it, but they're going to be fighting every play against Memphis, per se. I think that's one reason I'm excited for this North Alabama team to come in and play Memphis this year.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Then week 2, we have against Troy. It is the first meeting between Memphis and Troy. I'll just pause there and let that soak in for everyone listening. It is the first meeting between Memphis and Troy. Memphis has won 10 straight games against Sun Belt opponents, John. 10 straight. And in FBS opponents, openers, Memphis is 4-1. But are only 6-12-1 as a home field under Ryan Silver. Did you get that?
Yeah, I get that.
No, they're 4-1 straight up. So when you're looking at the spread, Memphis is 4-1 straight up against FBS in FBS open. But up next we've got Florida State, we had first road trip of the game. So we traveled down to Florida State. Let's also not forget Florida State is going to come off a bye week prior to playing Memphis. So first meeting will be this will be the first meeting since 1990. Memphis lost that game horribly in 1990. Florida State does currently lead the series 7-10-1. But since the year 2000, Memphis is 9-28 straight up and 13-21-3 against the spread versus Power 5 opponents.
Speaking of the spread, where do you see that point spread at on top of your head for that game? Because I can see that game being like a 9-point favorite or 10-point favorite.
Yeah, 10. I mean, I'm saying 10, maybe 14, depending on how who Florida State plays, how they look, all that. It's going to be a big time game, and I mean there's a reason that I mentioned they're coming off a bye because we've got two teams back to back, two road games where both of these teams are coming off byes. You've got Florida State comes off a bye, then we turn around and go to Navy, who comes off a bye. So we've played Memphis has played Navy every year since 2015 and won 5 straight in the series. Memphis has got a big win again at Navy. Last time Memphis played up there was a big win for Memphis, being the city. It was a big win for the city. But yeah, Memphis had a 13-7 lead at halftime, and then they outgained them 276-152 last year in the second half. They did get the win. 37-13. So big there. And then Tigers play MTSU. We're just going to go over the first 5 games, John. Then Tigers play MTSU. First time since 2014. These two teams have met. Memphis has lost, dropped 3 out of the last 4, but they've covered the spread. So that's a positive. But Memphis is 22-1 straight up in a non-conference home game since 2014.
I'm glad that game is back on the schedule. Also, to be honest with you, a lot of people are saying, "Why is Middle Tennessee on the schedule?" I'm not trying to say anything bad about Memphis' fan base, but people are saying, "Why Middle Tennessee? Why Troy?"
Because they'll play us,
right? But the thing is, also you look at like a travel perspective, because Middle Tennessee, you know as much as I do. Middle Tennessee fans all over the state will travel to Memphis for that game.
Yeah.
I look at it like that point of view because both fan bases can travel to each other's field, whatnot. And last check, Middle Tennessee is still top 3 in that in the state of Tennessee, based on enrollment size for the college student athletes as well.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, they probably got still the largest band other than the University of Tennessee also out there too. So, Middle Tennessee, I'm glad it's back on the schedule. I think Derek Mason will do a hell of a job at Middle Tennessee. If you give him like 2-3 years like you're supposed to, like every other coach, and get his players in, and heck, yeah, he's leaving or he's replacing a legend in Coach Sykesdale at Middle Tennessee, but Middle Tennessee is a good game to be on that schedule for the Tigers because think about it. You got, like you said, Florida State and Navy back-to-back on road games, and it's good to play them Middle Tennessee at home, where in years past, Memphis has always played Middle Tennessee tough at Middle Tennessee as well. But Middle Tennessee is a good test for the Tigers going to their conference slate right before the conference slate gets heated up for them.
Yeah, I agree. John, up next, man. Let's talk about some players that we've got our eyes on coming up this season. I'll let you start on this.
Oh man! Other than basically the main people that, other than Seth and the receiving core that we got, I'm anxious to see how our kicking game will go down the road as well, down the street. Because think about it, Memphis has actually been off and on at times regarding the kicking game a little bit the last couple of years, where they've had people kick off and then they go to field goals and vice versa, and then they're using two kickers, one kicker for kickoff, and then one kicker for kicking off. But I'm definitely interested in see if we're going to maybe see a kicking battle this year for the kicking, per se, because you do got like 2 or 3 kickers that you have had in your program the last couple of years. So the kicking game is where a few players might be standing out for the Memphis football team right now in the kicking game.
Yeah, Caden Costa Jr. comes over from Ole Miss. Last year as a true freshman. He was 14 of 17 for field goals for Ole Miss. So not too bad. He played 3 games last year for Ole Miss. So not, like I said, not too bad. Then you got Tanner Gillis. Of course, he was on the team last year. He was 47 of 49 for point after attempts. He was 10 of 13 for field goals. You got Tristan Vandenberg, who was a kickoff specialist last year. And then you bring in Landon Carter as the sophomore. So, when you look at that, that's something that Memphis football has had going for them for a long time, very similar to the running backs. And I think that will definitely continue to improve. I mean, what I'm watching this year is the defensive side of the ball. I'm not really worried about the offense. I'm more worried about the defense. And I'm not really worried. From what I saw from defensive coordinator Jordan Hankins in that Iowa State game, plus what I've seen, heard from spring practice, things of that nature. Really looking forward, man. Really, really looking forward to watching these guys like Camonte Hamilton, Reggie Grimes, who we brought over from Oklahoma this year. You bring over Patrick Lucas Jr. from Indiana. You bring over the kid from Louisiana Monroe, his name slips my mind now. But you bring in Elijah Herring, the leading tackler from Tennessee. You bring in Bryce Edmondson, another really, really, I mean, Bryce is extremely talented. Brett Carew came over from Oklahoma Baptist, very talented tackler. Taj El Ray, bringing him from Old Dominion. You bring in Javante Mackey from Arkansas State. I mean, when you look at these portal players that we've been talking about the last 2 years, we haven't even seen the ones from 2 years ago or last year yet.
Right.
And then we're steadily stacking on top of them. Don't forget, Trendon Morton's still there at linebacker.
Right.
I mean, plus you've got Julian Barnett, who I feel like has been with this football team for 30 years now. Then you get the kid, you get Kobe Minor from Indiana. You got others. You got DJ Bell, the kid that I'm really looking forward to watching this year. Jordan Grier from Indiana, another kid I'm really looking forward to watching this year. Cortland Marsh, young man from Stanford University. He's a defensive back to safety. Keep an eye on this kid. Keep an eye on him. And then what I also love is you move Greg Rubin back over to safety, which I think really is we talked about it last year, more of a natural position for Greg. Greg gets to really see things from back and then react forward, which I think works better for Greg. But then you bring in a guy like Cameron Miller, a kid that we're very familiar with, local kid. But yeah, man, this team. But then don't forget, John. Then you got Mario Robinson. You got Mario Anderson Jr. from South Carolina, leading running back. You've got Sutton Smith, burner of a kid coming back. You have Akari Bodiford, freshman, who we saw during the spring game, he can be a real weapon. You got Brandon Thomas. Let's not forget about him. I mean, this team is loaded top to bottom. And when you really get down to it, this Memphis team is really, really, really talented. Then you bring in D2 Newberry as well. So when you look at the offense, like I said earlier, I'm really not concerned about the offense with this team. And I'm not really concerned about the defense. I just want to see how this defense can mold, play well throughout the season. I really want to see how they hold up, how they, what's the longevity of these guys. these are all things that I'm really watching this year to see. But I think this Memphis football team is going to be very special this year. I'm not giving away any picks or anything like that.
Say that for August.
Yeah, save that for late July, August. But we're not done talking about them. We're going to continue to talk about them. We're going to start getting into the specific offense, specific defense. We'll get into specific positions as well as we dig into this football team more as the season gets here. But John, when you look at this Memphis team, running back is the position. I think that's where obviously quarterback, but I think running back is really the position where I see you're going to see Memphis take that next step forward. We saw a 1,000-yard rusher last year. I think we see another one this year. I think we see two in the backfield this year, in all honesty. I think we see Sutton Smith become a 1,000-yard rusher, Mario Anderson become a 1,000-yard rusher. Like I said the other day, 1,000-yard rushers, two of them I think is going to happen for Memphis. And I think there's 2,000-yard receivers. And like I said the other day, Seth Hennigan throws for his average of touchdowns, which is 30 touchdowns a year. He throws for that this year. He will finish top 5 all time in touchdowns thrown in college football history. How is that man not going to be a first-round draft?
Right.
I don't see how he is not going to be a first-round draft. I think Seth Hennigan is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Been saying it for 2 years. Been saying it for a year that he'll be a top first-round, but not top pick, but first-round draft. I think he's that good. I think he's that talented.
Yeah, we don't have 2,000-yard rushers. I think it's going to be awful close. You could probably see maybe a running back have at least 650 to 800 yards rushing, and then the other one have like 900 per se. Because like in years past, Silverfield and Cramsey have used a lot of running backs at different positions at different times throughout the game. So you can definitely see that happening this year as well, especially when you got too many running backs to name that are so good and talented on that roster. And it kind of reminds you of the D'Angelo Williams and Tony Pollard days and Daryl Henderson days, whatnot. Especially when you get like that, that you use the Wildcat a lot more. You can definitely see that happening as well this year because you got so many players at the running back position where you can hand it off to so many players in the Wildcat in that position because it's like a Daryl Henderson, Tony Pollard days where you use them in the Wildcat a lot. And then the D'Angelo Williams days with Joe Doss back there in the backfield as well. So this year, the running back is going to be awful close to 1,000 yards, in my opinion. If they don't have over 1,000 yards, they'll be awful close to 1,000 yards this year.
I agree. I agree 100%, man. And like I said, we're just now getting started, man. We're just now getting it cranked up. John, it's time for some dessert, John, as we close the show.
Not so fast, real quick. Memphis Football, you're doing a hell of a job right now recruiting, so keep up the good work as well. The 2025 kids are committing like crazy right now, and y'all are doing a great job recruiting per se as well. So keep up the good work recruiting like you've been doing for the city of Memphis as well. Because who would have thought you would have 5 commitments within the last 3 weeks now?
Yeah. I mean, they're killing it, man. And also, thank you to everybody watching and listening right now. Looks like we got roughly 70 people watching right now. So I appreciate everybody watching and listening. If you like it, please share it. Go to our YouTube page, subscribe. Go over to our Facebook page, like, follow, share. Like I said, we got roughly 70 people watching right now. We appreciate everybody watching and listening. You're inside the sports buffet. You're taking a seat as a sports buffet, I should say. And you're on 4-Star Sports Media Radio Network. We appreciate everybody watching and listening. We've been talking a plethora of topics today. We started out with a little prep talk, then we got into a little baseball talk, MLB, MiLB, and college baseball. Then we got into a little football, talked a little UFL, talked a little Memphis football. But John, when we close the show, man, let's go back to our poll questions. So anybody that doesn't know about our poll questions, we normally run 2 a day. There is a burning question of the day that we ask every day. There's also 2 poll questions. The 2 poll questions today are, do you think Tennessee will break the curse and win it all. And second one is who will represent the group of 5 college football playoff? We got 4 choices up now at X on our X page at 4-Star Sports M, and same handle over at Facebook. We've got them posted there too. So go ahead and vote away, share it, send it to Tony Vitello, see if he wants to vote. Send it to send it to whoever. Send it to the App State coach. Send it to Brian Sofield. Let them vote too. That's fine. I got no problem. Whoever wants to vote, y'all go vote. It's fine. We thank everybody watching and listening. John, man, it's been a good show. On Wednesday, we're going to talk a little NBA. But we talk a little, possibly it could be over by now. Who knows? Talk a little NBA. We'll get into a little more Memphis football. We'll also start getting into a little Arkansas football. As the Arkansas Razorback season is getting ready to crank up as well. And then we'll also jump over and we're going to talk a little bit of golf as we talk the U.S. Open. And man, 4 feet is tough, buddy. Yeah, we'll get into that as well all on Wednesday. What you got, John?
Yeah, I was going to say also, the Stanley Cup could be wrapping up too.
Yep.
So, hey, a lot of people are asking this question right now: who has a better shot, Edmonton or Dallas, to go longer series now? And I really think nothing against the Dallas Mavericks and Christian Johnson's Mavs, but I think it's over for them. But good try, Dallas. There's better luck next year and whatnot. But it is good to see Kyrie Irving and go back to Boston and play in that NBA Finals in Boston. But Edmonton, I think, has a better shot per se, because Edmonton has basically made a statement last game when they won 8-1 back in Edmonton. And I think Edmonton-Florida game series now can go either way. I'm not saying Edmonton is going to come back from 3-0 down, but Edmonton definitely has a chance to win the next couple of games, whatnot, down on Florida. And I think just the way their shots on goal lately for Edmonton has helped them because they've had their chances game in, game out. And it definitely showed last game. But, yeah, interesting week regarding sports. Like you brought up, man, like I never thought the U.S. Open would come down to that yesterday, and I really thought we could have seen a playoff. But yeah, we'll talk about more of that on Wednesday. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this whole week of sports, really, to be honest with you, because a lot of entertaining stuff going on regarding trade talks as well in the Major League Baseball system right now as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, man. And don't forget tomorrow's Trivia Tuesday. So we'll have 2 trivia questions over on our social medias as well. Feel free to pop in and answer those questions if you'd like. We will give the answers away on Wednesday. That's how we do it. We do trivia on Tuesday. We give the answers on Wednesday. Wednesday's What's the Score Wednesday. So we'll be giving our score predictions. And then Thursday, we'll give you the games. You give us your picks on Thursday. And then, as we know, Friday's a little feisty Friday. We just kind of kick back, talk sports, talk live, talk whatever on Friday. So going to be a big week sports-wise. A lot of stuff's going on, and we're right here to talk about it all on the Sports Buffet, right here on the 4-Star Sports Radio Network for Westbrook. John Sturdivant. Always be good, folks.